you'll appreciate, had just arrived on a flight from Auckland and last night from Samoa, a state visit there. So it's been a rather full-on time. So obviously it's with enormous sorrow that we acknowledge the death of the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. Richard and I, His Excellency Dr. Davis, join with New Zealanders in mourning the loss of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, and we send our deepest condolences to her family, who I know will be grieving her death right now. For most New Zealanders, Queen Elizabeth has really been a constant in our lives. She's been here our whole time, and she's provided a sense of continuity and stability for us. So she's a real symbol of dedication to service, having served for more than 70 years. And I was so pleased that I got to meet her via Zoom, and I'd also met her twice in person prior to that, and was able to celebrate her Platinum Jubilee, which we had earlier this year in the United Kingdom. And that was a terrific celebration of her enormous contribution to the life of the Commonwealth countries in particular, but also all her realm countries, most especially. It was a great honour to witness people's deep love and gratitude for their monarch, Queen Elizabeth. I also had the chance, when I went the last time to the UK, which was in July, to meet with King Charles III. In fact, we had a very enjoyable full-hour meeting, and very, very interesting it was too. So His then Royal Highness the Prince of Wales is now the King of New Zealand. I will write immediately following the proclamation of his ascension, which is a formality. He has already taken up the role of sovereign and monarch. But I will write on behalf of all New Zealanders after we've had this day to really digest the news of the Queen's death and to acknowledge her and give her family time to come together. It's obviously a huge blow to them and to the rest of us. I know that King Charles shares his mother's commitment to service and also a deep affection and regard for New Zealand and the people of New Zealand. He's been here many times. The Queen had been here 10 times, and I lost count, but King Charles III has actually been here many more times than that. He's been here a great deal and takes a great and very particular interest in what's happening here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I know that people are looking for some information around what is happening and what opportunities they might have to share and to show their grief and to pay their respects and condolences. And I might be able to shed a little bit of light on that here today. Just immediately following this, at 12:15, I'll be departing for Parliament. And at 12:30, the Prime Minister and I and His Excellency will be signing the condolence book at Parliament. There are 2 condolence books. One is in a public space so people don't have to go through security, and one is inside in a secure space. So we will be signing the book inside, but there are condolences books that will be available once we've done that, so that'll be at 12:30. Also later on this afternoon, and I encourage people to do this, we will be, as a staff of Government House, myself and the staff here will be gathering at a tree to lay a wreath and flowers for Queen Elizabeth at a tree that she planted here many, many decades ago, and we'll be able to have a private ceremony there to acknowledge her passing. At 6 o'clock this evening, I will be joining the Chief of Defence Force and they will be doing a gun salute down at the Wellington waterfront to acknowledge the Queen's death. That is a public event, so members of the public are free to attend. That noise is actually our very dear pug who's making a terrible racket. Luckily, the Queen was also a dog lover. Yes, she is rather amusing, I know. So at 6 o'clock this evening, I encourage people, Wellingtonians, to join us at the waterfront for the gun salute, which the Defence Force will be offering. There are also going to be opportunities for people to lay wreaths and flowers and cards. Pukeahu has been mentioned, and also Parliament. Both of those are public sites where people can leave messages for the Queen and for the royal family. And of course, we wouldn't be surprised if Government House front gates has a few too. So there are places. Also, I'm conscious that local government will make available venues where they will have condolence books, and they also will have places where people can lay tributes for the Queen and pay their respects for the royal family. There are a lot of things happening. I've said an awful lot, and you probably have some questions over the next few days, and I'm very happy to try my best to answer any questions that you have. But it is certainly my intention to try and keep New Zealanders informed about how things are unfolding and when we're likely to go and what is happening. So I'll leave it at that. So kia ora koutou katoa. I'll move to...
70 years as the Queen of New Zealand, what do you think the people here will remember her for?
I think they'll remember her for her service primarily. She worked right up until her death at 96 years old. So from the time she became a very young monarch right until her death, she worked in the service of people, and that was, I think, a reflection of her very deep commitment and belief in the notion of service. I think people will remember her as someone who was dignified and also who was capable in her personal moments of great warmth and reflection. But I'm confident that New Zealanders, all New Zealanders, respect her as a person who was committed to the notion of Commonwealth, to the belief in the value of Commonwealth and Commonwealth countries, and also who cared deeply about her realm.
As you mentioned, she visited here 10 times.
More than 10, I think, yeah.
What are the images and the pictures which come to your mind when you think back on those visits?
Well, I can remember actually meeting her at the South Pacific Festival of the Arts. I was in the kapahaka group that did the welcome. And I thought she was someone who had a real presence about her. And so she came along with the Duke of Edinburgh at that stage, and met most of us. And it was obviously a presence that everybody noticed and made a real difference to the venue. So there was that. She was rather small in stature, but big in presence. So.
In your statement, you sort of spoke of her warmth and how she was able to put people at ease. What are some of your memories, and how was she in person, and what did you talk to her about?
Well, the last conversation was via Zoom, and I was very struck at how comfortable she seemed dealing with what is really quite an extraordinary new medium for someone in their 90s. And I think His Excellency, who is here with me today, would attest. He was present for the first part of that audience, and she was very able to put both of us at ease immediately and to engage straight away. I think the palace released some footage of that, where she said, "Oh, there you are," and we, began chatting about New Zealand and how many governors general she's met in her life, quite a few, and she's obviously interacted with people from all around the world over the last 70 years and more.
And what, sort of further plans are there? I understand that you'll be travelling to the United Kingdom. Can you tell us more about sort of those plans which are underway?
Sure. So there will be a funeral held for her in the UK, and we expect all of the royal family to attend that. And also, of course, heads of state from around the world, and especially from the realm countries and from Commonwealth countries. My understanding is that myself, as the Queen's representative, now the King's representative, will go on behalf of all New Zealanders, along with the Prime Minister. And we want to be there to pay our respects to her and also to the other heads of state who will be gathering. When I return, so that should happen around about Wednesday, we think. When I return, there is an official period of mourning, about 14 days, which starts today. We will have a state memorial service for her, and the public are free to come to that. So there will be a state memorial service on my return within that period after the UK service. So there will be an opportunity then for people to participate.
The Governor-General there, Dame Cindy Kiro, confirming that New Zealand is now in 14 days of mourning, calling Queen Elizabeth II a symbol of service and praising her enormous contribution to the Commonwealth. We heard also that Dame Cindy will be signing condolence book. If people want to leave their own tributes, then Pukeahu in Wellington is a place that you can go and leave flowers. There will be a gun salute later today, and later on Dame Cindy will also lay a wreath at a tree that the Queen planted at Government House many decades ago.